And with Lee, I must say, I feel a bit deflated after that, man. This was an opportunity missed. We had an opportunity to go 9 points clear in the Premier League. We rocked up to Forest thinking it was going to be our day after the results that happened early in the day, notably Man United putting one over on City. How are you feeling after that?
Yeah, I feel very, very let down by that performance. I'm pretty sure the manager does as well. Listen, you cannot miss the chances that we miss when you're going for a title and expect to win games of football. I'm sorry, open goals. There was a little bit of pressure relief today, Laurie, after those results today. But you wouldn't have thought it with our players. You'd thought like that. I'm worried. I'm worried by that. But that's two poor performances now. 2 0-0s against Liverpool, against a team that had no forwards. I get it that we'll sit back and everything there today. Today I thought first half we done okay, played well, should be 2-0 up. And then in the second half, I don't really know what was going on. Brought on different players, but there's not one player I look at today stepped up. Not one player, apart from probably Saka when he come on. But the rest of them were, what worries me about that today is there's 4 or 5 players out there that have bagged their worst performance for Arsenal when we needed their best performances.
Yeah, what do you think that is? I mean, let's talk about the team for a moment, because when the team was announced, I said to you guys in the watch along, I said, are you happy with the team? We all said pretty much yes, giving a couple of variations here and there. So most people are happy with the team. So how do you explain what happened? Let's try and get our heads around that, because I'm struggling.
Well, that's the worry for me. You just feel like, I think that the pressure's off a little bit. Go and relax and play, but they didn't do it. I looked a little bit jaded from the other night, Wednesday to Saturday. But we should be used to that by now. And if you're not, that's when you've got to make the changes. But I feel that there's players come in today. The managers took the 2 wide players out. Within an hour, he's had to bring on one after 45 minutes, one before the hour to replace them. That's not good enough. You know what I mean? Gyökeres up front today looks like weren't going to score and everything like that. You're then bringing on Jesus, who
Flattered to deceive.
Yeah, flattered to deceive when it comes to a goal. You need a goal.
Yeah.
We need a goal. I would have rather put Havertz on that, because at least he's 6 foot. You might get something from a corner or something like that. But I don't think that we done ourselves justice. Timber, worst game I've seen him play for a very, very long while.
I'll give it up to him.
But listen,
Declan
had a poor game.
Zubimendi.
You can go on and on and on. We'll be here all night. But at the end of the day, Miles Lewis-Skelly has a bad game, dropped. Well, I want to see a little bit of ruthlessness now with certain other players.
Yeah.
Martin Odegaard today, that's 2 poor performances from him now, So is he going to be playing when we go against Man United? And if he does, my God, he better step up. You know what I mean? Because, listen, Man United's going to be a tough game. Leeds is going to be they're all going to be tough games. But when you have an opportunity to just get a couple of points in front of it, you have to take it, Laurie. And today we didn't I thought it was poor.
It was
poor.
It was poor. I can't. With the Liverpool game, I kind of made some allowances for it, because I thought we'd been on that long unbeaten run, and we're coming off that, and then we stumbled upon a Liverpool that was half decent. They came to the Emirates with a plan, and I thought, okay, we didn't play well, but we didn't lose. But today we should have won this, man. Really.
Yeah, we should have done. And there's part of me, right? Part of me understands what Arteta done in that game, and I blame Arteta. I blame Arteta for the game against Liverpool, because I don't think he went he sort of said...
He's a bit passive.
Yeah. But today he didn't. He put on the substitutions. He's done what he done. He's made the changes and all that. Let down. The front 4 for us today let us down. You know what I mean? We defended well. We've kept a clean sheet. I don't think Ray was at his best today. Very sloppy with all of his players. Well, sloppiness was involved in a lot of our play, a lot of passing, all that. But ultimately, we've kept a clean sheet against a dangerous side. You've then got to take your chances. They didn't offer nothing today, did they? No. Forest, they weren't really at it and all that. If I'm Arteta today, I'm disappointed with the players today.
Do you think it was nerves? Do you think it was just one of those games where the players looked a bit jaded? What is it exactly?
I think that probably Wednesday took a lot out of us. You know what I mean? But I look at that today. That's twice now, and it's not the only time. There's been 3 or 4 opportunities when we've got chance to make it 9. even going to double figures to go in front, which is massive. And every single time you've not done it. You know what I mean? Like, and that worries me about the mentality of it. If Man City won today, would we have been a little bit sharper? Would we have been a little bit more at it? I think yes.
I think that's a good point.
But today we wasn't. We was a little bit you know what I mean? Oh, if only, like, you know.
I mean, Martinelli, let's talk about that chance that he had at the...
no excuses for him. I'm a lover of Martinelli, like, you know what I mean? But you cannot miss from there.
And then we had the chance with Gyökeres when he was through.
Gyökeres...
Okay, you could argue it was good defending, but he should really have got...
Shouldn't be giving him much. But like, listen, it was a poor defending from him in the first place that got Gyökeres. But once you go through, you've got to get away from the man. He never did that. And then, like, you know, listen, you dare I say, after what his performance against Chelsea, you expect him to do better than that, really, like, you know. But I think he looked jaded today, like, you know what I mean. So look, listen, and I get this. If the manager makes the substitute, makes a load of changes today, and we don't win that game, it's all on Arteta. He's gone basically with a team that has it. What's the annoying thing and the frustrating thing for me is that he went very, very strong on Wednesday night and didn't get the job done. I know we won the game, but it didn't. The tie should have been dead and buried. Yeah. Didn't do that, right? Considering what team that they had out, should have been dead and buried and out of the window. Didn't do that. And today, you know, you come up a team and let's get it right. 4th from bottom, 1 win in 5. You know what I mean? Like, champions take them apart. And we've been a bit passive and didn't do anything. Like, I will say today, as much as I don't like to blame referees, but we got Oliver out there. It's not his fault, but that's a penalty.
Yeah, that was going to be my next question. That's a controversial moment in the game. Now, I've got to be honest. When I saw it at the time, I was 50-50 on it. But you've said you've had a lot of people contact you online and said it was a Stonewall penalty. You've watched it back. Are you convinced it was a Stonewall penalty?
I think it is a penalty. Like, I understand. Like, you know what I mean. Like, this is the trouble, and there's going to be, there might be 3 or 4 people in this room that are going to say it is a penalty. There's 3 or 4 that's going to say it's not, and I get that. So at the end of the day, it wasn't clear and obvious, so you have to go with that. But for me, he just moves his arm towards the ball, and they're showing it now, like, you know, it's just it's there. Yeah, that little move, it's 2 inches, just moving the ball to his. It's not hitting his arm; he's actually moving it into him, like, you know what I mean. Yeah. And
I've definitely seen those given. Yeah. One last question, because we've got a few other guys who want to have this. Say, are you still confident? I mean, it's a poor day for us today. You've got to admit, I feel a bit deflated. I can sense that you do too. But we are still 6 points ahead.
So we're 7 points
as we speak now. Villa have got a game.
Probably be 4 tomorrow.
Are you still confident that we can go?
I think that, you know, I listen. I still think we're the best team in the league. But when I see performances like that today, and under a little bit of pressure or whatever, not perform. You know what I mean? And there's 5 or 6 players there that have not performed today. Maybe even more. It is a worry, like, you know what I mean? Like, you know, you cannot keep being given. You know, like at the moment, Manchester City are going here. There's the title on a plate, right? And you keep throwing it away. Yeah. Eventually, they're not gonna give you it, are they? They're going to say, right, well, you know, do you know what?
You don't want it, mate.
You don't want it. We'll have it.
Yeah.
And I think that's the problem now. Like, you know what I mean? Like they'll be all downhearted. Every single Man City fan before 3 o'clock today was down. As soon as that, not only they've been stuffed by Man United, they think like, oh no, Arsenal go. But we've just give them a little bit of a lift today. And unnecessarily, we've given them a lift, like, you know what I mean? Like, and today, I'm sorry, Arsenal didn't deserve anything from that game today. You know, apart from the point, you know, we defend. They didn't really go for it and all that. We was very, very. I thought very, very poor in the final third.
That kind of sums up the mood of everybody in here anyway. Lee?
No worries.
Listen, following football costs enough money already, so don't let your mobile bill mug you off. Rocket Mobile gives you unlimited everything for £16 a month. No nonsense. Powered by Vodafone and Free, plus exclusive content and prizes when you switch on over. Scan the QR code or click the link and put that cash back into football.